My friends, there are moments when life feels shattered, when the colors of your dream fade, and when the song of your heart is drowned in silence. Yet deep within you lives a timeless truth. The Spirit of God never abandons His creation. Right now, in this very moment, an invisible presence is working for you, in you, and through you. He is lifting you from the ruins of yesterday into the promise of today. He is the eternal restorer, the divine healer, the master builder of your destiny. And what He whispers to your soul is this: I am restoring you, I am renewing you, I am rebuilding you. God restores what was lost. There are moments in life when you feel that too much has been taken from you. It may be opportunities, relationships, peace of mind, or even years that seem wasted. Yet deep within, there is a law of restoration that flows from the Spirit of God. Nothing you have ever lost is beyond the reach of His hand. What you thought was gone forever is never truly gone in the divine plan. God is the master restorer. He holds the keys to bring back in abundance everything that appeared stolen, broken, or destroyed. When you look at nature, you see the truth of restoration. The tree that loses all its leaves in the winter does not despair, for spring will clothe it again with beauty. The ground that lies bare after harvest is not abandoned, for new seed will soon be planted. In the same way, what has withered in your life is not the end. It is the stage set for God's restoration. Perhaps you have lost peace because of turmoil, or confidence because of failure. You may have lost trust because of betrayal, or joy because of sorrow. But hear this: nothing is wasted in God's universe. Every tear, every setback, every moment of emptiness becomes the soil in which God restores a greater blessing. What you lost will return to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Think of the prodigal son who squandered his inheritance. He thought he had lost everything. Yet when he returned, his father restored his place in the family, not as a servant, but as a beloved son. This is the nature of divine restoration. It does not give you back less. It gives you back more. You will not be returned to a weaker place, but to a stronger, richer, fuller life. Your mind may say, it is too late, the opportunity is gone, the damage is permanent. But remember, God's ways are not your ways, and His thoughts are higher than your thoughts. What is impossible to man is always possible to God. He is able to rebuild the years that the locusts have eaten. He is able to turn what looks like loss into gain, what looks like defeat into victory. When you affirm within yourself, God is restoring my life, you awaken the creative power of the Spirit. Your subconscious mind accepts this truth and begins to shape new circumstances, attract new people, and open new doors. You may not see how it will happen, but the invisible intelligence of God is arranging everything for your good. Restoration is not only about things or circumstances, it is also about your inner states. God restores your soul. He restores your courage, your enthusiasm, your vision, and your joy. He restores the freshness of your faith, so you look forward again with hope and expectation. He restores dignity where shame once lived, abundance where scarcity once ruled, and health where sickness once lingered. Restoration also teaches trust. When you see how God brings back what was lost, you learn to let go of worry. You realize that nothing truly valuable can ever be taken from you, because what belongs to you by divine right will always return. What has been delayed will arrive. What has been removed will reappear, and what has been broken will be made whole. So if you are looking at an empty place in your life today, do not despair. That emptiness is the canvas on which God paints restoration. The unseen hand of Spirit is already working to bring you into a new season of abundance. All that you need is already prepared, waiting to unfold. Believe this with every fiber of your being, and restoration will manifest in ways greater than you imagine. Your heart is being healed. Deep within every person lies a tender place where wounds are carried. May be the ache of rejection, the sting of betrayal, the burden of grief, or the pain of loneliness. Life leaves marks on the heart, and sometimes those marks feel like they will never fade. Yet the truth is that your heart is not abandoned to its pain. The healing power of God is flowing through you now, gently, quietly, and perfectly, bringing restoration to the deepest part of your being. The heart is the center of love, and love is the nature of God. Where love is present, healing must follow. No matter how heavy the sorrow, love lifts it. No matter how deep the wound, love soothes it. No matter how cold the emptiness, love warms it. You are never outside the reach of this divine love, for it is the very essence of your existence. God's love fills the heart like light fills a dark room, dissolving every shadow. Healing begins when you allow yourself to release the burden you have been carrying. Perhaps you have been holding on to anger, to disappointment, or to the memory of hurtful words. When you surrender these to God, you make space for His peace to flow. The healing of the heart is not forcing yourself to forget. It is allowing God's love to transform the pain into wisdom, compassion, and strength. Consider how a broken bone, once healed, becomes stronger at the very point where it fractured. The same is true for the heart. Where it has been broken, once healed by divine love, it becomes more resilient, more understanding, and more open. What seemed like weakness becomes a wellspring of strength. The scar is not a mark of defeat, but of survival and victory. Healing the heart also means letting love in again. Sometimes pain makes you want to close yourself off, to protect yourself by building walls. But walls that keep out pain also keep out joy. God's Spirit gently dissolves these walls, reminding you that it is safe to love again, safe to hope again, safe to trust again. Your heart was created to give and receive love freely, and in its healing it returns to its natural state of openness. When you affirm silently, "My heart is being healed now," you align with the truth of God's presence within you. Healing begins to manifest as peace replacing anxiety, forgiveness replacing bitterness, and joy replacing sorrow. This inner shift changes everything. What once weighed you down begins to lift, and what once seemed unbearable becomes light. The healing of the heart is not only for your own benefit, it radiates outward. As your heart heals, you become a vessel of healing for others. Your presence carries comfort, your words carry hope, and your love carries power. Those around you feel lifted by the energy you carry, for a healed heart overflows with compassion. And so, the quiet work of Spirit is happening even now. The tears you shed are not wasted. They water the garden of your soul. The silence you endure is not empty. It is the place where peace is growing. The ache you feel is not permanent. It is being dissolved by the eternal love of God. Your heart is whole, your spirit is free, and your inner life is radiant with divine light. Your mind is being renewed. The mind is the gateway through which all experiences are filtered, and when it is clouded with fear, doubt, and negative patterns, life becomes heavy and distorted. But when the mind is renewed by the Spirit of God, it becomes clear, vibrant, and alive with divine wisdom. Renewal of the mind is not a small change. It is a transformation from within. It is the washing away of false beliefs and the imprinting of truth. It is the release of old habits of thought that kept you imprisoned and the embrace of higher patterns that set you free. There was a time when you may have believed that you were bound to repeat the mistakes of the past, that your failures defined you, that your limits were permanent. But these beliefs do not come from the spirit. They come from fear and conditioning. Renewal begins when you realize you are not a prisoner of those old thoughts. God's word is creative power, and when you align your mind with it, you are renewed day by day. Every thought carries energy, shaping the world you see and the experiences you attract. When you think thoughts of defeat, you pull defeat into your orbit. When you think thoughts of abundance, healing, and strength, you draw these into your life. Renewal of the mind means choosing to fill your inner atmosphere with thoughts of life, peace, and victory. The mind cannot serve two masters. You must decide what you will entertain. Will you dwell on lack, or will you dwell on supply? Will you dwell on weakness, or will you dwell on strength? The choice is always yours. The renewing of the mind is not about forcing yourself to think positively for a few moments and then returning to fear. It is about cultivating a new inner climate until it becomes your natural state. Just as the seasons change, the climate of your mind can shift. The winter of worry can give way to the springtime of faith. The storms of doubt can clear, leaving the sky of your mind bright with clarity and hope. God renews the mind by impressing His truth upon it. The subconscious, that vast creative part of you, receives impressions constantly. When you affirm, "I have the mind of Christ. I think God's thoughts after Him," you are planting seeds of renewal. Those seeds grow silently, forming new patterns of harmony. In time, your entire outlook changes. You no longer see life as something happening against you, but as something happening for you. Renewal of the mind also means release from the clutter of the past. How often does the mind replay old conversations, regrets, and fears? These loops are like chains around your freedom. But when the Spirit renews the mind, those loops dissolve. Instead of replaying past pain, you replay divine promises. Instead of meditating on mistakes, you meditate on God's goodness. You shift from a backward glance to a forward vision. With a renewed mind, you approach challenges differently. Where before you saw obstacles, now you see opportunities. Where before you saw dead ends, now you see new beginnings. Where before you believed in scarcity, now you believe in infinite supply. Renewal of the mind is the foundation of every change. For as you think in your heart, so shall you be. When you declare silently, "My mind is renewed, my thoughts are aligned with truth," the energy of those words goes deep into your being. Your subconscious begins to release old patterns and welcome new ones. Slowly but surely, your outer world begins to mirror your inner renewal. People respond differently to you. Situations shift in your favor. Possibilities that seemed impossible suddenly open. This is the quiet, unstoppable power of a renewed mind. Your mind is the garden of your destiny. If weeds have grown, do not despair, for they can be pulled out. If the soil has been neglected, do not give up, for it can be nourished again. God, the master gardener, is tending to your thoughts now, planting seeds of joy, peace, wisdom, and abundance. Soon the harvest will be seen, and you will live in the reality of a renewed mind. Your strength is being refreshed. There are seasons when you feel drained, when your energy seems to vanish, and every step feels like a burden. The trials of life, the demands of work, the weight of responsibilities can deplete you until you wonder how you will continue. Yet the truth is that your strength does not come only from the body or the mind. It comes from the Spirit of God within you, and that strength never runs dry. It is a river that flows endlessly, a fountain that cannot be exhausted. When you feel weary, it is not a sign that you are finished. It is a sign that you are being invited to draw from a higher source. Human strength may falter, but divine strength renews itself continually. Just as the eagle renews its feathers and rises to the heights, so your spirit renews its energy and lifts you above the storms. Your strength is not limited to your own resources. You are connected to an infinite supply. There is a promise written in the depths of your being. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. This is not idle poetry. It is a spiritual law. Waiting upon God means trusting, surrendering, and resting in His presence. In that waiting, your soul is recharged. Your inner batteries are filled. Where you once felt weak, vitality begins to flow. Where you once felt broken, wholeness begins to emerge. Strength is not only physical. There is emotional strength to endure, mental strength to focus, and spiritual strength to believe. When all three are refreshed, you become unshakable. God gives you the strength to forgive when bitterness tries to hold you. He gives you the strength to persevere when obstacles try to stop you. He gives you the strength to rise each day with hope, even when yesterday brought sorrow. Think of how nature restores strength. The seed hidden in the soil is not dead. Though it appears dormant, in its stillness, it gathers energy, and when the time is right, it pushes through the ground with unstoppable force. In the same way, your spirit gathers strength in stillness, in quiet prayer, in peaceful trust, in silent surrender. A reservoir of power is built within you. When the time comes, you rise with renewed vigor. Strength refreshed also means courage renewed. Many people believe strength is only about muscles or stamina, but true strength is the courage to face what comes, to stand in faith when fear whispers, to believe in light when darkness surrounds. God is refreshing this courage within you now. You are not left to fight with your own limited willpower. Divine courage fills you like breath fills the lungs. When you affirm within yourself, "I am strong in the Lord, and in the power of His might," those words become living reality. The subconscious accepts them as truth, and soon you feel their effect. Your steps become lighter, your spirit brighter, your outlook stronger. Even the body responds to this inner conviction, releasing energy, vitality, and health. Fatigue does not define you. Weariness does not have the last word. The Spirit of God within you never grows weary. It is always strong, always vibrant, always full of power. By connecting with this eternal source, you find strength for today, hope for tomorrow, and peace in every moment. Your dreams are being rebuilt. There are times when the dreams you carried in your heart seem to collapse, as though the foundation crumbled beneath them. Plans you nurtured with hope may have fallen apart. Opportunities you waited for may have slipped away, and visions you once cherished may appear buried under the weight of disappointment. But the dream itself was never destroyed. It was only waiting for a greater rebuilding under the hand of the divine architect. What looks like the end is often a beginning in disguise. When God rebuilds a dream, He does not reconstruct it in weakness. He restores it with strength, clarity, and alignment with His perfect design. The truth is that dreams planted in your heart by God are eternal seed. Even if they have been covered by doubt or buried under delay, they carry the power of life within them. Just as a seed remains alive underground, waiting for the right conditions to sprout, so your dreams remain alive within you, waiting for the right season of rebuilding. The fact that you still long for them, that you still feel their pull, is proof that they have not died. Rebuilding a dream means clearing away the debris of discouragement. It means letting go of the voice that says, "It is too late," or "You are not capable." It means silencing the whisper that tells you to settle for less. God never asks you to settle. He calls you higher, to the fulfillment of the vision He placed in you. The setbacks you faced were not signs that your dream was wrong. They were part of the preparation. Sometimes what falls apart must fall apart, so that it can be rebuilt on stronger ground. Consider a house that was constructed on weak soil. Though it stands for a while, cracks eventually appear. To rebuild, the foundation must be strengthened, the walls reinforced, the design improved. In the same way, when your dream is rebuilt, it is fortified against the storms of life. The lessons you learned in your season of loss become the pillars that hold up the new structure. Your patience becomes the mortar, your faith becomes the beams, and your trust becomes the roof. What emerges is not a fragile dream, but a fortress of purpose. Your dream may not look exactly as it once did, and that is the beauty of divine rebuilding. God shapes it into something even better than what you imagined. What you thought would be small becomes larger. What you thought would be ordinary becomes extraordinary. What you thought would be for yourself alone becomes a blessing for many. The dream is not only rebuilt, it is expanded. When you affirm within yourself, "My dreams are being rebuilt by God's power," you give permission for the Spirit to rearrange circumstances, send the right people, and open the right doors. Suddenly, paths you never saw before appear. The impossible becomes possible. The desire that once felt distant begins to feel near. Step by step, the pieces come together, and your dream begins to rise again from the ashes. This rebuilding is not something you must force. Just as a building rises, brick by brick, under the careful hand of a builder, your dream rises step by step under the guidance of the divine. You are not left to figure it all out. You are invited to trust, to follow, to allow, and as you do, you watch with awe, as what seemed ruined becomes a new creation, more beautiful and more stable than ever. Relationships are being restored. There is perhaps no deeper ache in the human heart than the ache of broken relationships. Connections that once brought joy can become sources of pain. Friendships may fade. Family bonds may strain. Love may be wounded by words or actions that cut deep, and yet the Spirit of God is the healer of all divisions. Where there has been separation, He brings reconciliation. Where there has been bitterness, He plants forgiveness. Where there has been distance, He builds bridges. Relationships, no matter how damaged, are never beyond the reach of restoration. Restoration does not always mean returning to the exact way things were. Often it means creating something better, something healthier, something rooted in greater understanding. Just as a broken vase, when repaired with care, can become stronger at the very place it was cracked, so restored relationships can carry a depth and richness that never existed before. What was once fragile becomes resilient. What was once shallow becomes profound. Forgiveness is the doorway to this restoration. As long as resentment is held, walls remain high and healing cannot flow. But when forgiveness is chosen, even when it feels impossible, healing begins. Forgiveness does not deny the pain. It releases the pain into God's hand. It is not weakness, but strength. For it says, "This wound will not define me, love will define me." As forgiveness is practiced, hearts soften, words change, and the Spirit creates new possibilities for connection. Sometimes relationships are restored, not by human effort alone, but by divine intervention. You may have tried to fix things with your own strength, and found the effort exhausting, but when you surrender the relationship to God, His wisdom goes where your words can. He speaks to hearts in silence, shifts perspectives in unseen ways, and draws people together with cords of love that cannot be broken. The Spirit knows exactly how to restore, because He knows what each heart truly needs. Restoration also begins within yourself. If you are burdened by regret for words you have spoken, or choices you have made, know that God's mercy covers you. He restores you to peace with yourself. Self-forgiveness is as important as forgiving others. Only when you release yourself from the weight of guilt can you fully embrace the restoration of your relationship. Relationships may also be restored through patience. Just as a seed takes time to grow, trust takes time to rebuild. One conversation may not heal years of distance, but consistent love and gentle persistence can. God supplies the patience, and in time the cracks begin to close, the walls begin to fall, and the bond begins to form again. Even relationships that appear permanently broken can carry the mark of divine restoration. Sometimes the connection is renewed in this life. Other times it is healed in the quiet places of the heart, where peace replaces anger, and compassion replaces judgment. Either way, restoration is possible, for love is stronger than division. When you affirm within yourself, "My relationships are being restored by God's power," you align with this truth. You invite healing into your conversations, compassion into your actions, and grace into your heart. You become an instrument of restoration, not only receiving it, but also giving it. Others feel this presence in you, and are drawn to reconciliation. And so even where there has been great pain, God's Spirit is moving. Friendships are being mended. Families are being united. Love is being reborn. What seemed beyond repair is quietly, steadily, beautifully being restored, not by human will alone, but by the hand of the one who created love itself. God's timing is always perfect. There are moments when you wonder why certain prayers seem delayed, why certain doors remain closed, why certain dreams take longer than expected. Yet the rhythm of God is never rushed, and never late. Divine timing is precise, unfolding like the season. Just as the flower blooms only when the soil, sun, and rain align, so your life blossoms when conditions are prepared. Waiting is not denial, but preparation. Every delay is shaping you, strengthening you, aligning circumstances for your good. What seems like pause is protection. What seems like silence is orchestration. Trusting divine timing brings peace, for you realize life is not governed by chance, but by perfect order. He gives beauty for ashes. There are seasons when loss, grief, and disappointment leave behind ashes, remnants of what once was, symbols of what has been consumed. Yet the Spirit of God never leaves you in ashes. He transforms them into beauty, into new beginnings, into radiant expressions of grace. Out of heartbreak arises compassion. Out of failure arises wisdom. Out of endings arise new possibilities. What seemed like devastation becomes the ground for a new creation. Just as fire clears the forest for fresh growth, so your ashes prepare the soil for beauty. In the unseen work of God, sorrow is transmuted into joy, and what seemed destroyed becomes the foundation of something great. Walk in confidence and faith. Confidence is not arrogance. It is the quiet assurance that the one who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Faith is the anchor that steadies your steps when circumstances waver. To walk in confidence and faith means to carry within you the conviction that God's power is guiding every detail of your journey. Instead of shrinking back in fear, you move forward with courage, knowing unseen hands prepare the way. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to demonstrate trust, every obstacle a chance to affirm strength. Confidence declares, "I am equipped," and faith whispers, "It is already done." Together they create an inner atmosphere where success, healing, and joy flourish naturally. You are made new in God's power. There is a divine renewal that touches every part of your being, spirit, mind, and body. To be made new in God's power is to shed the old garments of fear, guilt, and limitation, and to clothe yourself in strength, peace, and wholeness. It is the experience of rising from the ruins of the past into the light of a greater future. You are not defined by what has been broken, but by the life-giving spirit that dwells within you. Being made new means carrying fresh vision, renewed energy, and a reawakened sense of purpose. Just as dawn erases the night, God's power erases the weight of yesterday, opening the way for a brighter, higher, fuller expression of who you truly are. Beloved, we have journeyed through a great truth today, that God restores, renews, and rebuilds every part of life. We saw how He restores what was lost, heals the wounded heart, renews the mind, refreshes our strength, and rebuilds our dream. We learned how He restores relationships, aligns everything with His perfect timing, gives beauty for ashes, teaches us to walk in confidence and faith, and finally makes us brand new in His power. Carry these truths with you, speak them into your soul, and let them guide your steps. For nothing is ever lost in God, nothing is beyond repair, and nothing is impossible to His Spirit working through you. This is your channel name, and I remind you, you are living proof of God's masterpiece. Stay blessed, stay renewed, and walk in the certainty that restoration is already yours.